You're listening to Like and Follow podcast, presented by Mobile Digital.
Welcome to Like and Follow, a podcast exploring social media and digital marketing presented by Milk Bar Digital. I'm Ben, and this week we are talking about a topic that has affected a lot of people, especially lately. It's the idea of moving into a digital space and working from home. To join me in discussing this will be a couple of my favorite friends from Milk Bar. First up, we have Katy.
Hello. Why are you laughing, Callum?
Because you froze on mine, there was a huge delay, so it sounded like you went there. Carry on.
And we also have Callum.
How's it going?
Now, as we can already see, working from home does present itself with a couple of challenges here and there, especially just with the technology that we have available to us. What are your thoughts on that, Callum?
It's been all right. I think it took a little while to get into the flow of things, but after a couple of weeks, it sort of set in. Now it's like, okay, I see how this all works. You understand how everything's going to go together. So I think, I guess there's different methods for different kinds of people because not everyone's going to respond to different stimulus the same way as another person would. So for me, an example is if I know I've got a few things I need to do in a certain day, I'll break them up into small chunks and say, okay, if I finish 2 of these tasks, then I can have a little break and play some Animal Crossing and get my island looking spick and span, and then get back into it. And then I think if you can be consistent and keep yourself doing that and not just cheat and say, oh, I'm halfway through, but I think I'll just take a break now anyway. If you can be strong-handed on yourself, I think that will work really well and you'll find yourself being quite productive.
What about you, Katy? I know that you've had a lot of experience working remotely in the past.
I find it's really important to know what I have to get done and break it down before lunch, after lunch. I guess more general working from home, I find it really important to, take breaks like I would at work. Make sure I take a decent lunch break. And for me, it's really important to go outside. Most times I'll go for a walk during lunch, or go get coffee or something. Yeah, it's just really important for me to actually get outside because otherwise I just find myself sitting inside all day, not talking to anyone.
I think you're saying some really good points about those two things, the work hours and going outside, firstly with the work hours, because you're at home and when you finish working, you move 2 meters to your left and you go to your couch. I think it's important to try to set those strict time hours. So if your work hours are from 9 till 5:30, when it gets till 5:30, say, okay, I'm done with work. I'm going to turn off my computer, turn off the emails, and I won't look at it until tomorrow. Whereas you might be tempted to say, oh, I've got a few more things I want to get done and I've got some time and the computer's just here, so I might do them. So I think setting those boundaries is really cool. And then with the going outside, it is important to exercise because that really helps get the oxygen to your brain and makes you more active and think about things a lot better. Whereas if you're just sitting inside, you become a bit lazier, you don't really consider things as much as you would. So I think those are really good points that you had.
It does feel as though my physical movement is very different to what it would be in the office. Like you said, Callum, I've got a couch, which is, right behind me. And it doesn't take long for me to get home from work now. And even that travel time is something that I think we need to remember to factor into what our day is. It's not ordinary for us to work so close to where we sleep or where we eat. It does take some time to readjust your mind. And I think going outside and making sure that you are getting the exercise that you need and getting that movement is very important, especially when it comes to this sort of environment. Callum, what do you think is most beneficial about having all of these different methods of communication and keeping in touch?
Yeah, well, I think we've got so many, as we were saying before, and because there are so many different communication channels that we have set up, it doesn't just feel like we're having one conversation with our people at work. It feels like we're having 7 or 8, which is really good because it provides some variety for us. So it makes us feel like we are more social than we actually are, if that makes sense. Obviously with our Snapchat, it's all about, oh, this is a picture of my lunch, or there's a cool bird outside my house and you can see that. Where you got things like, we use Monday, but you might use Slack as well, and that's more, I've got structures of tasks that we have coming up, deadlines and that sort of thing. And then our emails obviously is your normal newsletters or just updates about brainstorms and things like that. in our G chats, just more casual banter, similar to Snapchat, but more text-based, or linking between different things. And the Zoom meetings obviously are a lot of fun. Like, I think on Zoom, we're doing a few different things. Like tonight, we have a cocktail class coming up at 3:30. So we're really looking excited to that, for that one. And we've had other things like a quiz night. And so just having that variety of communication, it just makes it really good for everyone to know that they're not just having one chat and they're having a whole variety of different things to make them feel like they're still part of something bigger than themselves.
I think the most important part of it is to try and keep that morale up and keep that culture that is already established as cohesive as you possibly can. Let's talk about businesses who might not already be in the digital space. How important do you think it is for them to now deal with the idea of working from home? Callum, will ask you first.
Yeah, well, obviously industries such as the food and hospitality industry is one that's quite, you've got to be in person to really utilize. So a lot of them struggled initially to get that transition from their brick and mortar store to making it more online. Some were already set up, but other ones didn't even have an Instagram or a Facebook account. So I think we've had a few clients ourselves that we've helped transition into that digital space where we've set up a way for people to order online. You can get it through Uber Eats and things like that. So I think we've been in isolation, how long now? Probably almost 2 months. Time's really flown, hasn't it? But yeah, I think most businesses now would be at that stage where they've come up with a way to make it work for them. And the few that haven't have probably unfortunately shut down at this stage. But yeah, especially food and hospitality, by having online stores, discounts and different ways of doing that, providing vouchers for people. There's a whole bunch of ways that they can do this. And I think the social media platforms as well are helping them out. Like Instagram's now introduced those stickers where you can donate or you can order, and there's special things like that, which is obviously helping them a lot as well.
I've seen a lot of brands like maintain good content, which is like a given, and that's like the basic of like a good online presence. But I think like the key to that is content that's like related to the product and, you know, like pushing sales and whatnot, but also just some more like organic or like sort of value adding content, if that makes sense, like that it can just, I don't know, to provide customers with more of an idea of who the brand is, and even just entertainment, because everyone's really bored at the moment. That's like the main key of isolation, is that people are just consuming a lot. So I think if a brand can kind of have a place in that, the digital space, whether it's like directly pushing a product or even just kind of subtly like pushing some branding, that can be really powerful. And when stuff does open up again and when like the restrictions are a little bit lighter, then the brands that did that really well will be on people's mind. And I don't know, I do think that will pan out well in the long run with the brands that had a really good digital presence, even if it wasn't necessarily product pushing or sales pushing the entire time.
You mentioned when things start to open up back again. We have, for full disclosure, this episode was recorded on the 8th of May when the Australian government did announce that there will be a 3-step plan. A lot of people now who are realizing that their jobs can be done remotely. They can be done working from home. It does beg the question, is this going to be somewhat of a new normal, do you think?
From what I've heard from friends and talking to sort of other people and like seeing online comments and whatnot, the general consensus is that like you can do the job from home, but I don't know, particularly meetings and the social element of it, I think there's something really valuable with being there in person and the collaboration that can kind of work at home, but it's just nowhere near as good as when you're all together, at least some of the time. I don't know if it would necessarily be sort of one or the other, like either you work completely remotely or from the office, but maybe we'll see more of a balance between the two in the future, like some flexible work arrangements some of the time, to not totally replace the kind of the office place, but just to, merge the two a bit more, particularly for people who need it, because in some ways working from home is really convenient. And I think this has shown that a lot of our jobs can be done from our homes, but personally I wouldn't like it all of the time.
Yeah, definitely. There's obviously going to be some industries that are better suited to this kind of work. Like luckily for us, most of the things that we do are online, so we can do them from home, except for things like photo and video shoots. But for industries like hairdressers and things like that, I can't imagine them doing FaceTime and saying, hey, just get your scissors and do a snip there. I don't think that's going to work out for them so well. But for industries where you don't necessarily have to be in person, I think there is going to be an uptake in that working from home lifestyle, because before this, I'll be honest, I hadn't done an awful lot of video chats. I just did it like every now and again. But since we've been working from home, I've actually seen like it's actually really straightforward and easy, and to be able to have conversations with so many people at once and do most of the things that you can do in the office, it's really quite a cool thing. So definitely I can see a lot of industries doing that. I don't think we'll be transitioning to a full-time working from home agency. I think we'll still have the office there because, like you were saying before, that communication, that social aspect is something that's really important, because humans are people that like to be social. We don't like to be isolated at home all the time like some animals do. But yeah, I think it's going to be a nice mix.
Thank you so much for joining me, both of you.
No problem. Thanks for having us.
If you're looking to transition to working from home and need a hand in doing so, Milkbar Digital is here to help. You can get in contact with us at hello@milkbardigital.com.au, and remember to like and follow us on all of the socials at Milkbar Digital. Thanks for watching.